afternoon to you. Many thanks for joining us here on Channel 1 Lunchtime News. And my name is Betty Kiptum. Now, we have quite a number of stories that are lined up for you, including the effects of the de-escalation of containment measures that were announced yesterday by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, but first we start with matters, medics who are on strike. Well, we go to schools which are reopening, and the latest on that is that it is emerging that many schools in the country are not prepared to accommodate learners due to poor infrastructure, even as the Ministry of Education mulls over the reopening of institutions. Of concern is lack of enough classrooms and space for expansion, a key requirement if the 1.5 meters social distance protocol set by the Ministry of Health is to be observed. Irene Muchuma Odem reports.
Githurai Mweki Primary School in Ruiru constituency is in need of funds to construct more classrooms to effectively implement the social distancing protocol required by the Ministry of Health before it can open its gates to the 3,600 pupils.
Kama tungeenda kulingana na design ya COVID na tuweke madarasa watoto 20 kwa kila darasa, tutahitaji madarasa 140. Bila shaka wanafunzi ambao tuko nao ni tuko na wanafunzi takriban 3,551. Tunaona tunaelekea 3,600. Na ni lazima utakuta kwamba wanafunzi hao wale chances za wao wanafunzi kurudi wote almost 100 over 100.
The school has 41 classrooms and Board of Management has identified a 9.5-acre piece of land and awaits recommendations from the Ministry of Education.
Expect influx kubwa kwa sababu ya zile shule za watu binafsi ambazo zimefungwa. Tunazijua kwa sababu kwa mfano hapa tutazungukwa kama mita karibu 300 hivi. Tunazungukwa na shule 7.
The same lack of infrastructure narrative is in Migori County, where a section of teachers are raising concerns over poor management of learning institutions by the Ministry of Education. Migori High School Principal Billy Ogola says the school is not prepared to welcome back students.
Because it has taken over 50 years to come up with this infrastructure that we have in schools, both using money from government and even parents. It's been all of us. And yet, confronted with COVID, those facilities are not adequate.
In West Pokot County, it is the same script, with a section of leaders urging the government to inject funds to support expansion of infrastructure in schools, especially those in the remotest areas.
Vitu vingi ile ambayo hata kama pesa ya corona ilipotea ilifanya nini, lakini sasa isiwe hiyo, wacha Ministry of Education isimamie na uone kwamba imefanya kitu hapa hivi.
Meanwhile, teachers in Machakos County are reporting to their various institutions following the Teachers Service Commission directive.
The major constraint is the resources, because we have realized we don't have enough hand washing points. We need to add. That requires resources.
Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
Now, from education to matters of the soul, the duration of religious worship services has been increased from 1 hour to 2, with the population attending service sessions to be determined by the 1.5-meter social distancing rule. The reviewed guidelines by the Interfaith Council will also see the elderly and children attend the services. The announcement follows the new guidelines on de-escalating COVID-19 containment measures announced by the President on Monday.
While issuing further guidance on congregational worship, Interfaith Council Chairperson Archbishop Anthony Muheria said the decision to review guidelines in places of worship was advised by the Monday National Conference on COVID-19 that revealed the coronavirus infection rate was on a downward trajectory.
After due deliberations and following the indications given by the President, we have decided to transition to phase 2 of phased reopening as from Friday, the 2nd October 2020.
In the revised guidelines, all current requirements on hand washing stations and temperature checks in places of worship will remain in force. The worship sessions will take a maximum of 2 hours.
We will now welcome the elderly over 65 years and the young ones under 6 years to the worship. However, the vulnerable and the sick will continue worshiping at home to avoid contagion. We will also allow group meetings and special services for youth and special groups, provided they follow the other criteria of social spacing and duration.
The funeral guidelines will remain, except the number of those attending has been doubled, with only 50 members allowed to the grave side. The duration of funeral service will not be more than 2 hours, and no food will be served to mourners.
Phase 2 characteristics for weddings will be: 1. All the current requirements for the guidelines of hand washing, all sanitization stations in the compound, seating at 1.5 social distance, and where possible temperature checks will still continue in force. 2. The number of those attending is raised to 200. And 3. Food is only served to the extended family.
Bishop Muheria, who called on Kenyans not to lower their guards, urged politicians to lead by example on the compliance.
On behalf of all religious leaders in this country, we here, as the Interfaith Council, wish to appeal to you, our dear political leaders, that we should not gamble with the lives of Kenyans. Please, we ask you in this COVID time, please postpone your political public gatherings that put our people at risk because they gather without masks and without social distancing.
On Monday, during a national COVID-19 conference, President Uhuru Kenyatta relaxed some containment measures as part of opening the economy.
In line with the recommendations of the Interfaith Council, the permitted maximum size of religious gatherings is increased to 1/3 of its normal sitting capacity, but with strict adherence to all applicable guidelines and protocols issued by the Ministry of Health.
Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
Now, nurses in LIKUYANI are threatening to down their tools, citing poor working conditions. The nurses are accusing the county government of failing to address their grievances, vowing to paralyze operations within 2 weeks if their demands are not met.
Health workers in LIKUYANI say that they have been facing financial constraints over poor pay, failure to implement promotions, redesignation, biased remuneration, among others.
So we are saying we are tired. This, as my sister has said here, has actually caused disharmony in the working stations. We are seeing scenarios in the county referral, in the other major hospitals in the sub-counties, where our officers are actually almost not satisfied when they are managing the patients, and because they are not motivated.
Through the officials, the medics claim the county has been reluctant to properly care for its workforce.
Children of ours cannot go to school. There is no progression of career, and we are feeling very demotivated. These children are feeling very demotivated. In fact, this count is being used like a training ground, whereby these children come here, we train them, then they go to the nearby counties.
They claim the county has been sourcing new staff, most of whom are related to county officials who are rewarded with heavy perks to the detriment of long-serving officers.
We must sit down, we must have honest conversation, and we must be honest with ourselves. Let me refer to the human resource manual of this county and the human resource manual of public service 2017, which says clearly that any officer that is being employed in contractual terms shall not be qualified to be in pensionable schemes. So does it mean clinical officers in pensionable schemes and laboratory officers in pensionable schemes in this county are better than those others that are graduating today?
The medics have now given the county 14 days to address their demands or they down their tools. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
We now move to the Kenyatta National Hospital, where there is a stalemate between the KNH staff and their employer over unpaid dues. We get the latest from our reporter, Wycliffe.
that we can play hardball. They are doubting us, eh? Yes. We can really play hardball, isn't it? Yes. Ni kama watujui. Unajua siku mbili hatujaenda kwa streets. Ni kama tumemiss kutembea, si ndio? Na tuko na barua hapa, tushaanza kuapply permit. Tushaanza kuapply permit ya hii ni permit ya picketing, eh? Yes. Tunaenda tu kuisign saa hii. Kesho. Pengine tutoke hata na wagonjwa tuende SRC, si ndio? So it seems things are not going on as we're supposed to do. We are expecting members to our senior colleagues to join us in the next 5 minutes. Once they enter, we'll request you that's what nilikuwa nataka mkae mahali mpumzike bado. You grant us like 30 minutes, we discuss on the way forward. I can assure you, you already know which is the way forward, isn't it? Mko tayari kwenda jela? Ngoja. Mko tayari kufutwa kazi? Wangekuwa wamefuta sasa. So, nataka tuimbishe wimbo moja, sisi tuende hapo tumalize. They are coming, so we'll go to first floor, the small room that usually meet. 10-15 minutes. 10-15 minutes, we'll be out with a full brief on the way forward, isn't it? Yes. I personally doubt the way forward is calling off the strike. I personally doubt, isn't it? We are not, eh? Wafanye kitu wanataka, si ndio? Yes. Alafu, also, nitakupea sahi tuimbishe. Members of press, I'm very happy for being patient, being there with us. But unfortunately, yesterday you misreported a story.
Yes.
Can I repeat that again?
Yes.
Unfortunately, yesterday you misreported a story.
Yes.
And it's not in my space to start talking about someone's life. I don't have authority to talk about them, nor do I hold brief for the family. But let's at least, and I'm begging you, most of you are doing a fantastic job, but there are people who misreported a story yesterday. Let me tell you, there is no amount of misreporting a story and talking about death that will call off this strike. I will repeat that statement again. There is no amount of misreporting a story or talking about deaths that will make us go back. Guilt tripping will not make us. People should sit down and say the injustices that have occurred in our lives for the last 8 years. Instead of coming to say, people did what from where cows went to the river. That said, nataka tuimbisho kidogo. So don't feel demoralized. Don't feel that when you see negative publicity. I usually tell people at the end of it all, I was human before I became a doctor. You are human before you became a nurse. Yes. You are human before you became a clinical officer. Yes. You are human before you became a healthcare worker. Yes. Let no one try make you feel bad about it. Okay? Yes. Hold your head high. While you are working, they are busy mistreating you and refusing to give you your money. And just bring stupid stumbling blocks here about SRC letters and what. Those love letters. I'm in a bad mood, eh? Let me wacha niachie hapo. Nitatoa wengine mbaya. Sawa, lakini tushikilie.
That is the Kenyatta National Hospital. Those are the staff there that are on strike. Their leaders just saying that they will not go back to work until their employer pays their unpaid salaries. That is the latest on matters strike of health staff that is ongoing. Of course, we've just seen LIKUYANI as well. Staff are on strike. We shall be coming back with more news, Lucy, Maura and I, but do stay with Channel 1 Lunchtime News. See you after the break.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, We'll take nothing for granted. And always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
You were determined to get back together with him, and that's what made us think that you achieved your goal.
Didn't think you'd be here, because I figured you'd be enjoying your honeymoon.
Uncle, please stop being sarcastic and just tell me directly what you want to say.
Would you care to explain to me why you decided to marry Francisco?
Can we talk?
What for? I really don't want to talk about Ramon or hear you try to defend him.
That's not what I came for.
Mother?
El paraíso
In love with Ramon.
Welcome back. Now, non-governmental organizations and proprietors of children's homes are calling on the Ministry of Education to fully support needy children ahead of reopening of schools. They say lack of funds and understaffing has had a toll on the running of day-to-day operations of many children's homes in the country.
Even as the government plans to reopen schools in the near future, it has been challenged to support children from vulnerable families. Children's homes are the worst hit by the coronavirus pandemic, with dwindling funds leading to a food crisis. Lack of constant donor to ensure smooth running of these institutions has been a major setback.
Mzazi kazi yake iliisha. Kwa hivyo hata yeye ako na changamoto ya kurudisha huyo mtoto shule. Itokane na upande wa shule, kwa sababu shule itaona wale watoto vile walivyo. Wa home, wa watu binafsi, kwa sababu ili iligusa kila mtu.
The Ministry of Education have been urged to come up with a mechanism to take care of all needy cases within the country and ensure access to education for all children. Speaking while donating assorted food items to Israel Faith Children's Home, which hosts at least 70 children, Newsome from Hope of Kenya, a non-governmental organization, said it supports reopening of schools only if all Ministry of Health protocols are adhered to.
The most universal challenge for all of them is funding to get those kids back in school. It's a mental health issue. There have been increases in rapes. There's been an increase in domestic violence with everybody out of school. And I think those are issues that need to be addressed through the county and the government in general.
And residents of Mangu village, Nyandarua County, are still coming to terms with a horrific incident where a 28-year-old athlete was last evening attacked and wounded by marauding hippos near Ewasonyiro River. Residents now want Kenya Wildlife Service to set up a camp at the Mangu Hippo Sanctuary to help tackle the rising cases of human-wildlife conflict.
Residents of Mangu village are a worried lot. This is after an athlete was on Monday evening attacked and wounded by marauding hippos near Ewasonyiro River. Edwin Mokua, a road race runner, was in the company of our colleague as they went to their evening jog when he was attacked and injured on his left shoulder and back.
So alikuwa mazoezi yake jioni huko kwa Manyasi, kwa sababu saa zingine huko ndio tunaenda kutrain. Ndio hiyo nguo ikamhapamia ikamuuma.
According to Dennis Kipkosgei, he was running ahead of Moku, and after a while he turned back but could not see him. It was then that he decided to go back and found he had been attacked by a herd of hippos.
kurudi kufika karibu na hipo sasa mahali penye nimeona sasa hipo nikaangalia hipo inamuuma jamaa akiwa inamrusha juu. Inarusha juu ya mkongo ikirudisha chini inatafuna akirusha. So mimi nikapiga nduru nikangangana na hiyo mnyama nikamfukuza hadi baada akaachilia jamaa. So kumajilia jamaa akawa ananisikia. Kuna mwenzangu ananimuita.
The attack comes barely 4 days after another man was attacked by the hippos in the same area.
Huyo sio wa kwanza, sio wa pili. Hizo hippos zimeua watu sana hapa Nyahururu. Juzi karibu na kwangu nyumbani tulikuwa na maombolezi zingine hapo na mazishi. Kuna mzee neighbor yangu alikuwa ameuawa kitu 2 weeks ago. Kwa hivyo inafaa serikali ifanye kitu kuhusu hizo hippos.
In the past 1 month, at least 2 people have been mauled to death and 3 others injured by the marauding hippos in Manguo village alone. Residents now want Kenya Wildlife Service to pitch tents at the Manguo Hippo Sanctuary to help curb rising cases of human-wildlife conflict. Mokua is receiving treatment at Nyahururu County and Referral Hospital, where doctors say he is in stable condition. He was expected to jet out to Turkey for an international event this weekend. Timothy Kipnusu for Channel 1 News.
Leaders and residents in Ndaragwa constituency have agreed on the boundaries for the new Aberdare and Nyandarua North sub-counties, even as they appeal for demarcation for better administration representation. The leaders resolved that creation of new administrative units is the only way the national government will be compelled to develop the area.
In a consultative forum that brought together elected leaders, administrative officers and area residents, Ndaragwa constituents agreed to retain Leshaupondo, Kirita and parts of Ndaragwa Central in Nyandarua North sub-county while creating Kanyagia and Kirima divisions in Shamata, Aberdare sub-county.
That public participation was now done that is to tell people what needs to be done, what is happening, how was the new sub-county carved from the original one. I think that was the major issue, the major controversy.
Ndaragwa Member of Parliament Jeremiah Kioni, who has been lobbying for the new administrative units, underscored the benefits of devolution, expressing optimism of infrastructural development.
Is the way the national government develops an area. And I want to underline that, the national government, because the county governments develops an area through ward administrators. This is for the national government.
Shamata Ward Member of County Assembly Ruben Gitau regretted controversy surrounding the gazettement of Shamata Town, saying it is a result of lack of public participation prior to the gazettement.
Letu ni kusema tumeelewana na we are not going to the Aberdare sub-county na services zetu tutakuwa tukiendelea kuchukua Ndaragwa. So we are happy for the meeting and we can say at least our people wamesikizwa.
His fellow MCAs, Justus Gaita and Kamau Gathugu from Kirita and Leshaupondo wards respectively, called for additional sublocations and divisions for better service delivery. A petition filed by 5 residents of Kirita ward to revoke the gazettement of Shamata Town as the designated headquarters for the newly created Aberdare sub-county is pending at the Nyahururu High Court.
And residents of Konambaya area in Likuyani constituency are protesting the poor state of Kona Junction Bondeni Road that connects Trans Nzoia and Kakamega counties. The residents say they are tired of being neglected by the area leaders and have vowed to continue the demos until the road is recarpeted.
This is the situation in Konambaya area in Likuyani constituency. Angry residents from the area took to the streets, planting banana stems and burning tires to protest the poor state of the road that has become impassable. The aggrieved residents say the Kona Junction Bondeni that connects Trans Nzoia County to neighboring Kakamega County needs speedy intervention, even as they accuse the area leaders of doing little to develop the region.
Sisi tunalilia haki yetu, haki ya barabara, tunataka lami, hatutaki hapa maram. Barabara zimeharibika, wamama wanaanguka na watoto wakienda kujifungua.
Accompanied Accompanied by boda operators, the residents vowed to block usage of the road until the government fully undertakes repairs.
Maandamano mpaka kesho, mpaka ile siku tutaona lami imeonekana kwa njia kutoka Konambaya Junction mpaka Bondeni Birigidia. Tumechoka. Hii barabara isipotengenezwa hakuna gari zitatembea, pikipiki ndio hazipiti pia.
They say years of neglect have derailed the area's economic and social growth.
Now, the Kenya Forest Service has entered into a collaborative effort with the National Youth Council to plant 1 million trees as part of the initiative to increase the country's forest cover to 10% by 2022. Speaking during the signing of a memorandum of understanding, the Chief Conservator, Kenya Forest Service, Julius Kamau, and National Youth Council Chairperson Roy Sasakatelewa says the partnership is aimed at not only conserving the environment, but also build a young generation of conservators.
The government wants to increase forest cover to 10% by 2022. To achieve the objective, the Kenya Forest Service has always robbed in schools and youth clubs in the tree planting exercise. But going forward, KFS wants to have many young people take up tree planting, and it is based on this that it has entered into an MOU with the National Youth Council to plant 1 million trees. Speaking during the signing of the agreement, the Chief Conservator Kenya Forest Service Julius Kamau and National Youth Council Roy Sasakatelewa say the partnership will boost the forest cover in the country.
And therefore, we appreciate that Kenya Forest Service as alone cannot be able to achieve that surmountable task of greening this country, and especially in terms of reaching to 10% tree cover by 2022. And therefore, our strategy has been to engage and to open our door to partnerships so that we can be able to leverage on their strength and they are able to support us and complement our effort.
Today is a very special day for us as we actually have a discussion and an MOU with KFS, of course joined here by my colleague, a friend of mine, Julius Kamau, to discuss on how do we involve the youth in the center of conservation. And we are looking at how do we achieve the 10% forest cover by the year 2022 in support of His Excellency's the President's agenda of greening Kenya.
Kamau and Telewa say to achieve the envisioned 10% forest cover, the country requires to plant 1.8 billion trees by 2022.
And therefore, today it's one of those special days that I'm able to host the CEO National Youth Council to be able to come and we put our head together on how the Kenya Forest Service and the National Youth Council can be able to leverage on each other and be able to utilize the strength they have in terms of network with the youth in this country and interest them to be able to support the agenda of tree planting in the country.
Today marks a day where we've come, the two organizations, National Youth Council and Kenya Forest Service, to undertake an MOU that will place and will actually put the youth at the center. This MOU is going to make sure that the young people are going to be the champions of greening Kenya. We are looking at planting trees. We are looking at involving young people to plant 1 million trees in achieving actually the 1 billion by next year, April. And we're going to do this by planting all types of trees. We are looking at conserving the environment, creating food security, and even for commercial purposes.
The two have called on both state and non-state actors to help in achieving the noble objective.
We now take you to the Sarova Stanley, where the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Vice Chair, that is Sophia Lechereti, is speaking, and she is speaking at a Kenya Editors Guild Press Club. Let's listen into that.
CEO, Twalib Mbarak, I don't need to introduce him. I saw on KTN when they were doing some interview, they were interviewing the public in the streets, and they wanted to know who the chairman of Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and half the crowd actually said it is Twalib. So I was surprised. They thought Twalib is the CEO. Yeah. And I would like to salute my able Deputy CEO, Abdi Mohamud, and I would like to salute my able Director Tor, and Director Okongo is here, and Director Mue is here, and the rest will be introduced by the CEO, because he's the administrator, he's the boss of the commissioner for the staff. I would like to salute the distinguished guild members. I salute you, all of you. I was just wondering why I had to spend 4.5 years at the commission, and I'm meeting the president this time. Thank you, CEO. I salute the CEO of Kenya Editors Guild. I already know her. She has a powerful personality, I noticed. Rosalind Omungo. Where is she? Not that one. Why did I imagine she's the one? I'm sorry. A thousand apologies. I thought she was the one. Okay. I would like to salute members of the Fourth Estate. Thank you very much. And I would like to salute all ladies and gentlemen and all that have been able to attend. Good afternoon. I'm just going to read the chairman's remarks without adding anything, because you know him, he's a man of few words. I begin by thanking the Almighty God for giving us His grace to see this day and the opportunity accorded to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to host the Kenya Editors Guild in the Press Club Luncheon. Before I make my remarks, allow me to introduce to you the commissioners who are present, which I already did. By the way, the Commissioner Dabar Malum sent his apologies, and Commissioner Gashoka sent his apologies. And the chairman, of course, sent his apologies. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is a statutory body established under Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Act in 2011. The mandate of the commission is to combat corruption and economic crime in Kenya through law enforcement, prevention, public education, and promotion of standards and practices of integrity. One of the key functions of the commission is to enlist and foster support of both state and non-state actors in the fight against corruption. In this regard, we appreciate the collaboration and partnership with the media under the auspices of the Kenya Leadership Integrity Forum. They are actually also members of the CLIF. In addition, we acknowledge the cordial relationship between the Commission and your various media houses in highlighting the anti-corruption agenda in the country. This forum accords us another opportunity to deepen our strategic partnership aimed at an integrity-driven Kenyan society. This luncheon is coming in the wake of reinvigorated efforts in the fight against corruption in our country. It's noteworthy that significant strides are being made in this pursuit, and the efforts are bearing fruits. For instance, the World Bank's case of doing business index indicates that Kenya has improved from position 130 to 56 in 2019. That is the World Bank. Similarly, Transparency International Corruption Perception Index of 2019 showed Kenya's improvement by 6 positions from number 144 in 2018 to 138 in 2019. These milestones have been achieved through collaboration between the EACC and several other actors, including the media. To this end, I wish to thank you as well as other members of CLIF, the multi-agency team, and the National Council of Administration of Justice for their contribution, including the judiciary and the DPP. I wish to appeal to the media sector to consider the following areas in order to complement the efforts of the Commission and other law enforcement agencies in preventing and combating the vice of corruption. 1. Unfair reporting. There is need for the media to ensure that fair reporting of anti-corruption matters in the country. Where an agency is making strides, it is important to recognize in order to positively influence the public so that they can have confidence in their institutions. I urge you to be objective in your criticism, which will aid us to be more responsive and effective in our work. I would rather leave this part for the CEO to actually put more input. Secondly, infiltration by corrupt elements. The corrupt will attempt to scatter, influence investigations processes, and attract public sympathy when called to account.
Right there is the EACC Vice Chair, Sophia Lecheret, speaking at the Kenya Editors Guild Press Club. That particular press club is themed dealing with Kenya's corruption virus, the role of the media. Of course, they are discussing the role of the media as a watchdog to ensure that corruption is unearthed as well as just given a fair coverage in the media. That story, our reporter Suleiman Yuri is on the ground and will be bringing us a detailed report in our subsequent bulletins. We move on to other news. The Office of the Attorney General is looking for new strategies to enhance legal service in devolved units to boost service delivery to the citizens. The Chief Administration Secretary in the Office of the Attorney General, Winnie Gushu, says there is an urgent need for local offices to offer legal advice to county officials.
The Office of the Attorney General is in the process of increasing its devolved offices in the country, with the State Department earmarking Bungoma and Kericho counties. Speaking while on a tour of Busia County, the Chief Administrative Secretary in the Office of the Attorney General, Winnie Guchu, said the devolved units, once functional, will work with county commissioners to assist Kenyans with legal services, mainly on inheritance.
We want our officers also to take that opportunity to do sensitization on matters of marriage, on matters of civil litigation, matters of court cases, issues of succession and inheritance. We want this information to go to the ground so that we prevent some of these cases from being problematic.
Busia County Commissioner Samuel Kimiti appealed to the Attorney General's office to ensure enough officers are posted so that they can be able to assist many locals who are in need of such services.
We need to have those ones who are already will be going to court and those who will be will be there for advice by departmental heads at a need, and they also will be part of the service delivery at the therefore. They will have your share, the educating people, the departmental heads on the issue of legal matters.
Kimiti acknowledged that matters of inheritance were rampant in the area, with families differing on issues which can be solved without necessarily going through the court. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
Now, Nyamira County Women Representative Jerusha Mumanyi has poked holes into the recent performance ranking by InfoTrack Research Center that rated her among the worst performing legislators in the country. Jerusha says the research was done in Nairobi and the real picture at the grassroots was not captured. She spoke at Kemera Ward in Nyamira County, where she donated water tanks to various learning institutions. The scorecard of all members of the National Assembly for the year 2019-2020 gave her a performance index of 39.6%. Emuhaya MP Jeremiah Omboko Milemba was ranked the best performing legislator.
Watu ambao ama kitu ambacho kitanifanya hata mimi nitetemeke ni hawa watu ambao wanipatia kazi. Na mimi niko na wao, ninaendelea kuwapatia kazi. Sasa yule mwenye aliandika hiyo ni yake. Sisi hayo mambo hayatutishi. Tuko tayari kufanyia watu kazi. Si hata wao ni business, wako kwa business. Sasa wacha waendelee kufanya business yao. Kama wanaona huko wanafanyia hiyo business itaenda mzuri, sawa. Lakini hapa mashinani sisi tuko kazini na watu wetu wanajua ni mambo gani tunafanya. Sisi hatuna maneno na wao. Wacha sisi ni watu ambao wako mashinani wanaona ni nini inaendelea.
Let's do the business. Now, Nokia is set to become a major beneficiary of Huawei being blocked from the UK's 5G networks. The Finnish telecoms firm has struck a deal to become the largest equipment provider to BT. The deal will see Nokia replace Huawei in BT's 2G and 4G networks. Here are the details of these and others in our international business roundup.
Nokia will now provide additional base stations and antennas to let EE customers' devices make calls and transmit data via the UK firm's 5G radio access network. EE's network already uses Nokia to provide its 3G service. BT had already used Nokia's 5G telecoms infrastructure equipment in London, the Midlands and some rural locations, but these will extend the two companies' partnership across other parts of UK. The UK government announced in July that all the UK's mobile providers were being banned from buying new Huawei 5G equipment after 31st December and must also remove all the Chinese firms' 5G kit from their networks by 2027. The decision, which was taken on national security grounds, effectively ended a strong relationship between BT and Huawei that dated back to 2005. Meanwhile, Japan's budget airlines have taken extreme measures to survive the COVID-19 pandemic, which has brought the global aviation industry to a standstill. Japan's budget airlines have taken unusual measures to buffer themselves from the crisis. For example, Jetstar Japan has offered a voluntary separation scheme to 60% of its employees, including 200 pilots, providing compensation to those who volunteer to resign or take long-term unpaid leave. Additionally, some of Zip Air's passenger jets have been converted to cargo planes, with the first cargo-only flight taking place earlier this month between Narita and South Korea's Incheon. Finally, crude oil prices have rebounded, recouping some of last week's losses. The West Texas Intermediate for November delivery rose 35 cents to $40.60 a barrel, while Brent crude for November delivery increased 51 cents to $42.43 a barrel. Energy analysts say high investor interest was lending support to prices as speculative net long positions in Brent and West Texas Intermediate both rose sharply recently. For the week ending Friday, West Texas Intermediate crude lost 2.6%, while Brent slipped 2.9%.
Now, the tourism sector was badly hit by the coronavirus pandemic. It literally shut down that sector. Of course, even as the sector begins to recover, domestic tourism has been pitted to be the savior of the industry, at least in the near future. Our reporter, O'Brien Kimani, is down at the coast and is giving us the latest report on how domestic tourism is picking up. O'Brien, what's the latest?
Thank you so much indeed, Betty. You're right. We're coming to you from Diani, one of Africa's most decorated beach. And it has been voted the best beach in Africa for the last 6 years. And you can be guaranteed 2020 will not be different, even going forward. And as you can see from behind, absolutely stunning in all its majestic nature. 17 kilometers of pure, clean, sun-kissed beaches. This is what you get here at Diani. Unfortunately, for the last 6 or 7 months, business has been absolutely depressed because of the coronavirus pandemic. The business owners here are looking forward for better days ahead as Kenya continues to ease restrictions, and they are hoping that with travel restrictions lifted, business tides will change. I'm joined by two beautiful ladies. They have been here. Catherine Robertson has been in the South Coast for 36 years. 20 of them have been spent in the hotel industry. And on my left, there is Teresia Wanjiko. She's a beautician. They will all be giving us an experience of what they have gone through since the pandemic struck the country. Thank you so very much indeed, Catherine. I mean, for you, business has been, you were telling me that this is the worst that you have seen so far.
Very much so. This year has been the worst year for everybody in Diani. And all we can hope is that from now onwards things improve for us. We've managed to get to where we are today thanks to all the residents' support and with help from people around, all the staff that have worked with us too. So that's good.
It looks completely deserted, save for a few locals, who are walking around the beach, looking for cowrie shells and so much. At a time like this, every year, this is not the same, right?
No, September and October can be a bit quiet, but you normally find tourists walking on the beach and people in all the businesses around, in all the shops and hotels. But right now, more business comes at weekends than we've got currently. Yeah, sure.
And you are telling me that a number of hotels, are yet to open business.
Yes, there are several hotels that, due to lack of international tourists, they've decided to wait and see what happens. And see what.
And you know what? There is a saying that one's man poison is another man's meat, and that can be said for Teresia Wanjiku. She was telling me that the last 7 or so months have been the best for her business so far. Teresia, I mean, everybody else is crying about business hardship, but for you, it's been good all through. Why?
Exactly. I'm in the cosmetic industry, and during that time, that's the time we did a lot of business. I think because people are not going to work, they had all the time to do their nails, to do their makeups and all that. So that's the time I did a lot of business. And also during the lockdown, we were not able to travel to Nairobi to get the products, but we could get them through the courier services. So we were able to get the new products in the market. Yeah.
I mean, help me understand this. During the lockdown, you didn't have a lot of people, manage to travel to the coast. And I do understand that a huge significant of your business, is derived from visitors who come to this place. So how did you manage to hack these?
Okay, and also I think Mombasa is also our competitor in buying the products. And because people could not travel to Mombasa, so they bought more on us. On the other hand, there was a way we were affected because most people who are our customers, they are also depending on the hotels, they are depending on the cottages. So because they were not working as well, so people who are buying expensive products, they went down to cheaper products. Yes.
And that's how you managed to benefit. Exactly. Catherine, as I wind up, help me understand this, as hotel industry, what are your expectations going forward? And do you see, the situation getting back to normal anytime soon?
In reality, I can't see much happening this year, but hopefully we'll be able to see a bit of business from Nairobi and upcountry. And then when Europe opens up, then things will turn back to normal. I'm sure we'll see a few of them.
That is O'Brien Kimani there, just giving us the latest on matters domestic tourism from the coast. Remember, that sector took quite the hit with COVID-19. When it hit, it shut down the tourism sector, and the domestic tourists are now, or rather the providers or service providers in that sector are now creating products to ensure that they attract domestic tourists even as they wait for international tourism to open up. Of course, O'Brien Kimani will be giving us a detailed report in our subsequent bulletins. We move on to other news. The government has set 2,500 shillings as the minimum buying price for a bag of maize from farmers. President Uhuru Kenyatta has also banned maize and wheat importation in the country, urging local millers to mop up available stocks from local farmers. He has further directed the National Cereals and Produce Board to complete payment to farmers who supplied maize to the board by Friday this week.
The recommended minimum maize selling price by the farmer to be Kenya shillings 2,500 per 90 kg bag, and require that the ministry enforces these prices. There will be no maize imports from outside COMESA and the East African Community region, and the millers are therefore directed to ensure that they prioritize mapping and mopping up of all the maize that is available locally.
And suppliers will be required to have a written credit limit agreement with retailers to cushion them. Retail Trade Association of Kenya Chair Willy Kimani says this is part of the new code of ethics being drafted by retail owners and the government to streamline operations.
The retail sector has been facing turbulent times in recent times, with some supermarkets going under after facing management and financial headwinds. This has seen suppliers incur heavy losses running into billions of shillings. To protect suppliers from such losses, the government and players in the retail sector say suppliers and retailers will have to sign a credit limit and payment agreement to ensure retailers purchase what they can afford.
Suppliers need to have proper agreements with retailers. There's no JBPs. People are not agreeing what their growth is they are working towards, how they will supply that, how they will manage and make sure that they market the goods to actually do that. There is what we call lack of supplier agreements. Suppliers and retailers have actually not signed up supplier agreements. That is the first and foremost thing that needs to happen.
The retailers are optimistic about the sector's future, saying increased foreign capital injection in some of the local retailers will add much needed liquidity.
A majority of businesses across the world started as family businesses, but they grow to giants and the family no longer has an hand. So they exist as shareholders, however they do not run the business, and that is the way forward, and that is how even our businesses will grow.
A report commissioned by the Retail Association of Kenya urged players in the retail sector to incorporate ICT in the value chain to minimize theft and use of data to project consumer behavior.
Retailers are really thinking about customer retention being a problem. And I believe that there is technology that can help retailers to look at the data of the consumer behavior and then make it a mandate for themselves to run their stores and run their businesses in a manner that will bring their customers back instead of.
The report also indicates that foodstuff, furniture, electronics, and sport equipment have been the most purchased items during the COVID-19 period, as most Kenyans choose to work from home. Benson Dioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The sports. Spain's 12-time tennis champion Rafael Nadal encountered few problems as he started the French Open with a 3-set win over Belarusian Igor Gerasimov. Nadal, aged 34, wrapped up a 6-4, 6-4, 6-2 victory in 2 hours, 5 minutes against the world number 83, who was making his main draw debut in Paris. U.S. Open Championship champion Dominic Thiem also moved into the second round with a 6-4, 6-3, 6-3 win over Croatia's Marin Cilic. Russian fourth seed Danilil Medvedev is out after losing to Marton Fucsovics. Thiem, who won his maiden Grand Slam title in New York a fortnight ago, has lost to Nadal in both of the past 2 finals at Roland Garros. Signing, Diogo Jota grabbed a home debut goal as the champions demonstrated their determination to retain an iron grip on their English Premier League crown by coming from behind to record an impressive 3-1 victory against Arsenal at Anfield. The Gunners, who had won their opening 2 league games, went ahead after 25 minutes when Alexander Lacazette took advantage of Andrew Robertson's error to bundle a close-range finish past Alisson, but ended well beaten. Liverpool's Sadio Mane pounced 2 minutes later after Arsenal's goalkeeper Bernard Leno could only push out Mohamed Salah's shot. Robertson scored a second for Liverpool before Jota added a third. That's it for Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Many thanks for your company. My name is Betty Kiptum, and Lucy Mora has been my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Do have yourself a lovely afternoon, and do watch KBC for our subsequent bulletins. Bye-bye.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
People gonna say all kind of things about you. We them all. When your booty got show me now. Baby, one time. Bossy baby, give me 2 times. Beautiful 180. Crazy. Let's go. Ha. I needed some with some bop in it. Mamacita, where you at? I've been trying to reach you. Choro.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
And if I don't buy it, somebody will. Julia is adamant about getting rid of the gym.
Please, Abasi, don't buy it.
Talk some sense into her.
Amela, Wanjala, wamejaribu kumuhimiza. Mimi ndio nitafanya nini?
You are a sensible man.
Really get married to Francisco? Come on, what exactly has gotten into your head to pursue that idea?
I want to hear how you're going to tell him that you won't be living with us anymore.
You know, Diego is a smart boy.
Francisco, when do we leave for Canada?
I'll fix the documents tomorrow morning.
I want to get out of here as soon as possible.
So do I, my love.
In love with Ramon. Next on.
Gosh, I can't deny the fact that you got the perfect spot. Come on.
Dear, we are go fight. I think it's best that you forget me.
Na msibabaishwe na yale mnayoyapitia, hata yawe magumu kiasi gani, yote yatapita. La msingi ni kuweka tumaini letu kwa Mungu aliyetuumba. Katika kitabu cha Warumi 5 mstari wa 3, wala si hivyo tu, ila mnafurahia.
Kupata dhiki huleta zaburi. Bonyeza star 811 star 963 hash. Bonyeza star 811 star 963 hash.
time for some banter as we have a look at some of the stories that have made headlines in the entertainment scene over the past week.
That's what's up, baby. You know, it's all about the big things popping, small things dropping. Beautiful people, we are right here just to, you know, keep you on the know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's start with Zari's big 40.
Yo,
Zari just turned 40 years and she was looking bomb. Oh my goodness.
Man.
What do these people eat? Yani hawakai age yao.
Man, Zari looked 28 and she's 40, eh? Hey, chupa si chupa, toto si toto, eh? Hey, man, Zari anakula nini manze?
I don't know, but it was a big party that was held down in South Africa. And by the way, Diamond had a message for her as well.
I'm telling you,
yani Diamond vile tu anatuchanganyanga. It's like we always talk about something to do with Diamond every other week.
It takes a real G to recognize the real manze. With all this beauty, glam, you know. Look at Zari, eh? What do you think? Diamond is back down like that. Yeah?
This
you
plus
need to
so
appreciate.
much more stories coming your way. I go by the name Vivian Dago. You can simply just call me Miss V.
Jack Muller, the party daddy, aka your girlfriend, go my number.
And you know what this right here is?
Grapevine, baby. All right, music is the language that we speak, and you can never stop a good music. Now, on our first story, I'm leaving Miss V to chill with the beautiful lady.
Umeniteka, minatoa jasho, unanitesa, silale sikuli, na kesha pia, siogi sivui, nimechizi pia.
As Grapevine, we are always here for fresh talent. We support everything and anything KE as long as it is amazing. And today is no different because we are having the new kid in the block. She is an amazing songstress who goes by the name Mumbua. What's up, Mumbua?
I'm great.
Thank you for coming.
I'm happy to be here.
How you doing?
I'm good.
COVID inapelekaje?
Tuna struggle. In Chimaro's voice.
How would you introduce yourself if I gave you the opportunity to just introduce yourself to your people?
Okay. So my name is Mumbua. I am a singer, songwriter, performer, and also a fitness enthusiast.
Together forever.
So somewhere that you actually put music aside for a while, from 2015 to get into fitness fully. Where did your love for fitness come from?
I think I was going through so much from 2015. I was having very crazy personal issues. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And when I started therapy, I think the first advice was, you know, can you try something? Can you try exercising? It was just like a normal exercise for therapy. But when I got into it, I got to find out that it's actually changing who I am.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And actually, mental health is something that is normally not looked or taken so seriously in not just Kenya but in Africa.
Yeah, I think people just take it as something ati wewe uko na tu stress zako au kila mtu anapitia, but actually it's something that should be looked upon honestly, because it's especially the young people are being affected. Guys are killing themselves, guys are into drugs, like they're deep into drugs, and these are things that should be looked upon.
Now the name Mumbua, that's just your ID name. As in, mbona hukuamua kutafuta like a fancy name for your stage name as we see most people do?
Unajua kwanza hiyo Mumbua iko na there. It starts with the Mumbua. So for me, when I was growing up, I didn't like that name. So, you know, there are those names that you call even in school. Mtu akikuita that second name ama that third name that you don't like, una feel well. So Mumbua was that name that I never used to use. I used to call myself Doreen Musembi or Doreen Jackson. I skipped the name Mumbua. So as I built my confidence, I began to think, what else can I do to Mumbua to just love it? And nikasema, when I start my music again, I will call myself Mumbua, and for the confidence, I'll put there. So it's the Mumbua. There's no other.
What you have to do, whatever you feel like doing. This is
this is the Mumbua.
Baby, you're the one I want. Baby,
early this year,
Yes.
you released Caribbean.
Yes.
How has the reception been this far?
Caribbean as my first song was just an opener to show people that this is Mumbwa. She started with Caribbean, and honestly, I like the reception. Most people up to now, they like Caribbean because it's actually a really, really good song. And then since I started in February, I love COVID.
COVID happened.
COVID happened
Like,
in
why
March.
do you think you're going in?
Yeah, I was like, okay, I should have waited and started 2021. But you see, I had already started, and I told myself, like, once I start, there's no stopping. It's this and it is this. I'm not stopping. So I sat down with myself. I was just telling myself, what else do I need to do? I had other projects I had recorded. And then, I went on to record the next one, which was Hizi Nigani, and I released it in July.
Hizi ni gani, hizi ni gani, hizi ni gani, baby, penzi hizi ni gani, hizi ni gani, hizi ni gani, baby, penzi
Now, before we get to the newest one, because I know after Hizi Nigani, there's a new one that you're now promoting. We don't have as many female artists in the scene as we would have loved to see. Why do you think it is so?
You can hear some chicks have sung, you can hear this song is nice, but they are not consistent. They are not able to endure, especially if you're doing it alone. It's normally really hard. So chicks are just soft-hearted, I think, and they tend to give up easily. So lazima tu kwe gangster.